Today is October 29th, 2011, and I am at Occupy Los Angeles. In the past week, the Occupy Oakland and Occupy San Diego they've been escorted off their sites by police in what might be called an aggressive way. Occupy Wall Street still continues, and now it's getting cold back east, and a lot of people must be thinking about packing up their tent and going home. But here in Los Angeles, it's 75 degrees, there's not a cloud in the sky, it's a beautiful, perfect day, and people would rather be outside their tents than inside. Whatever you want to say about the message of Occupy LA and that it doesn't have a unified message, everybody here identifies the motto of 99%ers. They see the 1% as the people that have taken advantage of them in some way or another. So the grass is dead. How long will city ordinance continue to be broken before they're met with either a fine or they're met with riot gear?
Have told us that we can no longer have People's Assembly or General Assembly after 9 p.m. Anyway, my point is... Regardless of whether that's true, my point...
Everybody relax.
Everyone has a difference of opinion of the information that was received. Let me finish! Please. Look, it's not easy to facilitate a meeting, folks. I'm doing my best, and I'm going to hear if I have incorrect information, I want to do that. However, my point was only that even though they may have said that, we're still here. That was my point.
In this instance, our police are here to serve and to protect. And these boxes are not harming anybody. So to me, this is a control mechanism. So are we just gonna bow down? This is an opportunity. This is a global movement, right? Where we're saying, look, we are free. We want to be free. We want to be democratic. We want to be able to make our choices.
You want to be stupid.
And so there's a way in which we need to say, what are we standing for? To me, it's the freedom to provide, to grow food. Are you kidding? This is something to me, this is a very important stand. And if the police come in, great. It's a phenomenal opportunity to get some media coverage about something that's really, I believe is really important at the core of this movement.
We won a battle over the Constitution, not over taxes. We won a battle over race, not rutabaga. It is that simple. And when we appeal to the public, we should make it seem that way. What I would suggest is that we move them out, and then we put them on wheels, and then some mass march, when we have our next mass march, move them back in with big banners declaiming why you're there, etc., and having our causes so that it becomes about free speech battle instead of a battle over some beans, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I think a lot of people here want to get arrested. They want to push the police to come in and act because I think they feel like that would be a unifying force for us. So there's a lot of people that want this confrontation with the police because we feel like we're here just expressing our First Amendment rights. And if they want to come in and kick us out for doing that, then kind of so be it, and we'll take it from there.
Are you seeing are you witnessing a divided population here? Are people very extreme in their views?
Yeah, there's definitely division here, but I think it's widely understood why we're here. To me, it's obvious. The situation in this country is completely unsustainable, and people are just not getting their basic needs met anymore. So I think people can definitely rally around that, but there's some internal division on how we handle the pressure from the police department, from City Hall, you know, how aggressive our tactics are in dealing with these issues.
Why is there one message that should justify all of the movement?
Humanitarian crisis, global humanitarian crisis, global economic crisis, global environmental crisis is why we're here.
Are you naturally taking on issues that involve homeless people?
Yeah, in fact, we now have social workers, people that deal with drug abuse, and people that work with mentally ill people showing up here on a regular basis to help the population of our camp deal with these serious issues that the city, the county, and the federal government have let these people kind of slip through the cracks over the years. The problem continues to get worse.
Do you think that at this movement, are people talking about these conditions? Are they exposed for the first time to extreme poverty and what it's like to be have their life kind of dictated by codes?
Well, I would say in some instances, the people here, this is the first time that they've really been exposed to something like this. I mean, I've lived in Los Angeles my entire life. I know that these conditions exist and persist. I know I've been through Skid Row. I know that Skid Row is not a pleasant place at all. This has been kind of an eye-opening experience for me. It has helped shed light to a certain extent on how bad things really are in this country. So I think there's some people here that are probably more used to this than others, but I think no matter what, anyone walking into this camp is going to get a taste of what America looks like today, and it's not necessarily a pretty picture.
What do you say to those who say we are broke?
Robert, we're ready.
Well, the answer is we're not broke. We are the richest country in the world. We're richer than we have been at any time in our history. We have a long-term budget deficit problem, but that's because of healthcare costs that are rising out of control. But we're not broke. In fact, we've got 25 million people who are looking for full-time jobs. We've got an infrastructure that's crumbling, but we can borrow money. The 10-year Treasury notice is the yield is 2%. That's the cheapest borrowing we have ever had in anybody's memory. So the idea that we can't borrow, we are broke, we can't fix our infrastructure and put our people to work is quite frankly irrational.
Robert Reich has spent his whole life working on behalf of working people and the poor in this country. As Secretary of Labor, he led a national movement to abolish sweatshops and child labor, to raise the minimum wage, and he implemented the Family and Medical Leave Act.
This economy right now is twice as large as it was in 1980. But most people don't know that because their wages, if they have jobs, their wages have stagnated for 3 decades. In fact, they've been going down. If you adjust for inflation, they've been actually going down. Now, where's the money gone? If the economy is twice as large as it was 3 decades ago, and if most people have not seen a wage increase, in fact, most people's wages are going down and they're losing their jobs, where did the money go? It went to the top 1%. But it's not just the economy that suffers. It's also our democracy. We must take America back because it is too precious. Our democracy is too precious to allow it to fall in the hands of a few people. Now, I know some people say, oh, this Occupy movement, there are no demands. They haven't got their act together. They're not a political movement yet. But let me assure you, many of you have been, as I have been, involved in years past with the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam movement, many other movements in this country that at their beginning, in their first months or even in their first years, we weren't sure about exactly what the demands were going to be, but we are motivated by a moral vision. Right now, at a time in American history when we have the worst economy since the Great Depression, our social safety nets are in tatters. Only 40% of people who are unemployed qualify for unemployment insurance. Only 40%. And it's not even clear after the end of this year
that unemployment insurance is going to be extended for all of the people who desperately need it. Single mothers. What are we doing for single mothers who need to work? Well, we don't even have to have work out there, let alone any safety net for them any longer. What about young people with loans, college loans hanging around their necks? Unemployment among young people, even with college degrees, is about 9% right now. And they have an average of $25,000 they owe. And what about a safety net for people who have huge mortgage debt that are underwater? We bailed out the banks, folks. Why don't we bail out average working people, average people with regard to huge debts they have? In closing, let me just say this. Everything is going to it's going to work out. This country, wait a minute. This country, I mean, if you look at American history, every time it looks like, wait a minute, before we get to revolution, let me just say something. Every time in the history of this country when things have got totally out of whack, and I'm talking about the 1880s and 1890s and 1920s and 1950s, every time in this country when things have got out of whack, you know what happens? People rise up. The people rise. Americans can do it. And we can do it if we are patient, if we are nonviolent, if we understand the importance of being organized and mobilized, and if we educate those who disagree with us and listen to those who disagree with us. Thank you very much.
Yes, in the middle.
But if you're like me and you're like, oh,
think about it, let me know later.
Hey, Mr. Maher, what's harder to fight, established religion or corporations?
Same.
So
I think we can.
Built in there.
It's a good institution. I don't think religion will ever go away in my lifetime. We don't want corporations to go away. We just want to tame them and control them.
Yeah, are they hard to fight?
And we want to save them.
They're not benevolent, as they would have you believe.
They're supposed to be.
Well, that's if you watch Secret Millionaire,
right,
they want to make you think that there's some sort of benevolent pinata that's going to rain jobs and gifts down on people. But the thing about a pinata is you have to hit it with a stick.
That's right.
So why is the sustainable...
What are you most proud of that the occupation movement has been able to accomplish so far in the...
Getting people in the street.
Getting
the agenda. People are now finally talking about jobs. I mean, up until this happened, the debate was all about spending and the debt ceiling and every other bullshit issue that the Republicans put on the table. And Obama took the bait.